Hello there, my name is Peter Thomson. I'm delighted to welcome you to this video, and I'd like to carry on from our conversation on the last video when we were talking about selling. And on that video, as you know, I was talking about the mistake that people make by not having an opening to their sales conversations and jumping straight in from the rapport part of selling into the gathering stage without having set the scene effectively. For today, I want to capitalize on that and talk about a different part of that selling process as we move down the flow of the selling conversation, which I'll explain in a moment. And that is based on this idea that the real selling takes place at the gathering stage, not at the presenting stage. Now, I know that's a bit unusual, a bit challenging, a bit contrary to what a lot of people say. However, I have proved that this is the case over 40 years of being in business for myself and teaching over the time a lot of salespeople how to sell more effectively. So this is how I believe the flow of the sales conversation takes place. To start with, there's the rapport part of it, isn't there? Where we're attending a client's office, or we're meeting on a phone, or we're meeting on a Skype or a Zoom call, or wherever it might be, and we're building rapport. We're talking about the weather, we're talking about something we know about the client, we're talking about ideas that we have in common, or friends that we have in common, or hobbies or pursuits that we have in common, or business connections that we have in common. We're building rapport. If we're meeting face to face, there's probably tea or coffee or water, or maybe we're even meeting and eating. But there's always this rapport building stage. Then we go into the opening, and you know from last time, this is really important that we set that opening up to set the scene, so that not only is the client's mind open, ready to receive information, it's also open in order to give us information. So rapport, then the opening, next comes the gathering stage. I remember interviewing a fascinating man, Tony Alessandra, in the States. Did a lot of work and had a program about charisma. And he had a fascinating expression, I wish I'd written it, and it's this. So thank you, Tony. Prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Isn't that just a brilliant expression? Prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Or in other words, in the selling idea, if we leap in to say to the client, oh, let me tell you what I've got. Right, this is going to be great for you. Before we find out what they want, what their problem is, what their opportunity is, all the details about them first, then that would be a case of prescription before diagnosis, therefore malpractice. So gathering is definitely the next stage. However, if I was going to have a conversation with a client, and let's say it was going to be 1 hour long, this is how it would roughly work in timing, and this is understanding where the gathering is just so important. There's probably 5 minutes or so on rapport building. There's 2 minutes probably maximum on delivering the opening and then launching into the agenda, which again I haven't covered yet for you, I'll cover in another video. Then we go into the gathering stage, and the gathering stage is going to be in an hour, probably 35 to 40 minutes of it. Yeah, that much of it, 35 to 40 minutes in the gathering. Then there's going to be the presenting or demonstrating that hasn't already taken place in the gathering, which is probably going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. It's that sort of length. Then there's clearing up any confusion, giving clarity to confusion, what's sometimes been called handling objections, but if this is done right, they really don't come up. Then there's the concluding or the agreement stage, and then there's what I call the introduction, which we'll talk about on another video. But for today, let's concentrate on that gathering stage. It could be up to 40 minutes of a 1 hour conversation. Here's a way to think about it. Rather than thinking that the selling takes place when we are talking about and presenting our ideas, think about it this way. The selling takes place when the client sells themselves in their answers to your well-crafted questions. You see, for me, selling isn't about talking, it's about talking but asking questions rather than making statements. By having a series of pre-planned, carefully thought out, well-structured, well-crafted questions, and we're able to deliver those throughout the gathering stage, then throughout that process, which is more a labyrinth than a maze, by the way, the difference being that a labyrinth has one path that takes you all the way through to the end, whereas a maze has multiple paths that get you lost. So this is a labyrinth. So this is these series of well-crafted questions through which the client begins to realize the problems they have, begins to realize the downsides of those problems, or if we're talking about an opportunity, they realize the opportunity and the upsides of the opportunity, or maybe even both of those in the conversation. So slowly but surely, they realize the problem, its downside or upside, and how you can solve that and what it's worth. Because we sell our products and our services and its price based on the contrast between the emotional and financial situation the person finds themselves in now. My phone and computer's always going off when I'm doing stuff like this. Not to worry, nice bit of sound in the background. We sell the price and the ideas based on the contrast between the current financial and emotional situation compared to the cost or investment in our solution. So it's all about the gathering. So here's my suggestion to you. What questions can you craft that enable you to understand exactly what the client is looking for? Solve problem, capitalize on opportunity. What information do you need to know about that in order to be able to propose your solution, either during the gathering stage, which is why I'm saying it could take 40 minutes, or briefly at the end? Because by that point, if you've understood and the client has understood for themselves the problem they've got, the opportunity they might have, how much it's costing them financially and emotionally now, what the solutions are and can be compared to what's happening today, then it's virtually over. The presenting or demonstrating after gathering, and lots of it will have happened during gathering, is just a confirmation that what you've both been talking about is the way forward. So it's a very, very simple process. So here's the flow. Rapport, opening, agenda, gathering, presenting, adjusting, concluding, introduction, and follow-up. That's where this works so smoothly. So if you've got any comments on this, then please put them down there. But in addition to that, I urge you to take these ideas away. Spend some time, do it backwards. Spend some time thinking what you need to know you can help the client, and work out the questions you need to ask to find out the information that you need to know to help them. In the doing of all that, you will find that you don't need to convince anybody. They will have easily convinced themselves because you've been passionate, persuasive, powerful, and convincing. I wish you every success in all your adventures in life as you continue to have freedom from anything that may have held you back, including ringing phones, and freedom to be, do, and have whatever you set your heart and mind upon. Always in that order. Be it first, then do it, and then you'll have it for sure. See you on the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Then click to watch the next video. Remember to visit our website at peterthomson.com and download your free copy of my latest book, How to Write Your Business Book in 5 days or less. Until next time, every success.